What is going on, lords and ladies? Today, we are going to be taking a look at the patch 0.15 notes. Now, the update is going to be happening on January 5th at 6 UTC. The time right now is January 4th in game at 17:21. So that means in about 12 and a half hours, right, is when they're going to start the next patch. Now, this is super big, and I want to talk about some of the awesome things that are in the patch as well, that we're going to break down the pros and cons, and I'll give you some of my feedback on it. So starting with the first one, which in my opinion is arguably probably the most important patch update or game update in the new patch preview notes. Territory rallies. You will be able to rally against other lords' territories. This means another player's city. Challenging super strong enemies will no longer be a fantasy. Epic alliance battles can break out when garrison troops confront rally troops. They have basically now given us tools for any player, right, to be able to fight against top players, right? You can now do some serious damage to arguably spenders, right? People or people that just have a really high power, right? For what once was an afterthought for being able to do a lot of damage against really high-powered players, you now will be able to really start chipping away more efficiently, right? It might take a little more time, and obviously we'll have to see how hard the rallies hit for and other mechanics along those lines, but they've at least given us some tools. Right, so if you have like some rogue big players that are going around doing whatever they want, depending on the server you're in, if you just want to be able to feel like you can actually do some damage against a bigger player, right, you can now do that. So I think this is a fantastic update, a fantastic new feature. The next one, online rewards. Increasing online time promises, corresponding rewards. The glory of Norheim will dim without your participation. So I think this is more of them just trying to issue out rewards faster after certain tasks or challenges have been completed, which you can't go wrong there. The next one I really like because I think this is interesting. Kingdom contract for novices. New lords will receive a free kingdom contract that can be used to change your kingdom before the castle level reaches 10. So this actually I think is great because typically if you want to switch a kingdom, I believe it costs 2k or 2,000 green gems. And that's you switching from green, blue, or red, right, to another. So the fact that they're now giving you a item that you can use to switch for free, absolutely fantastic. This is I think this is definitely another quality new feature update that is just going to let players, it's going to allow them some flexibility. One, because like let's say you start out in a new server and you are just noticing that, hey, maybe some of your friends are in another faction, right? Or maybe you accidentally started in a faction and you didn't realize that all of your friends or a group that you want to play with is in another, right? Maybe you notice that one group has a little, maybe an alliance offered you a position and they're in another faction. Or maybe one faction is, looking like they're farther ahead of the pack than another. And to be fair, you'll probably reach Castle 10 day 1, if not day 2, easily. And this is just as a free-to-play. So, within the first couple days, you'll probably have an idea on where you might want to end up. And so I just like that they kind of give you this to use, whether it's proactively using it or reactively using it. The next thing is translation rating. I want to say, and this is great, right? It says, you will be able to rate the chat translation. Your feedback is invaluable to us, and we will continue to increasingly smoother communications, smoother communications among players. The thing I will say here, I actually really like the chat translation in Infinity Kingdom. Compared to other kingdom builders I've played, I actually really think that the in-game chat translation feature is in my opinion, I think really good. I think it's great that they're still looking to make improvements upon it and they feel that it can still be improved upon. I personally think it's really good, and I actually engage and I socialize a lot more with international players in this game than I have in any other game before. The next thing is Alchemy Lab Locks. This is a fantastic feature. I personally don't think this happens that much, in my opinion, at least not to me, but I do think it's a great addition, right? You will be able to lock immortal fragments and equipment that hold dear to your heart to prevent accidentally dismantling it, right? So you'll be able to choose, like let's say you don't want to let go of any water elements because your main comp is water, right? And you want to keep all of the epic and rare epic and elite immortals, right, in your alchemy lab, and you don't want to give any of them up, right? So I think this is a great addition because hopefully for especially the new players, right, are going to be safeguarded from potentially dismantling some of their immortal fragments. So great addition. Some of the bounds changes. I actually think these are somewhat interesting because Keen Emperor, right? He's getting a new effect which increases attack speed. I want to say he's now the second immortal that does have increased attack speed, and I can't remember what the other one's name is. I feel so bad. I'm actually looking for it right now. But this is great because there's not many immortals in the game overall that do allow for that. And let me see if I can pull this up real quick. You guys are taking a look at all my good stuff here. Oh, hang on. This is the wrong one. Let me go to mobile. We'll go games. We'll go Infinity Kingdom. Let's go Commander Breakdown. Okay. So this should tell us real quick, because this is the spreadsheet that I know I made for this. I'll probably have to do some updates to reflect some of the new changes for some of the skill effects. But let's see attack speed. Okay. So attack speed, Alexander has attack speed, increased attack speed 15 to 50%, and then Hippolyta has, let me see here, she increases 5 hits random troops, reduces the troops' energy. Okay, so she reduces attack speed. So Alexander the Great is the only immortal right now, which is an Earth one, that increases attack speed, right? So now you're going to have Keen Emperor, which is a Wind Immortal, Epic Wind Immortal, that is now going to have the increased attack speed buff. So I think this is actually great, right? And it increases it for all allied units. So I think this is great addition because you can now use Kin Emperor or even arguably Alex as kind of a flex pick if you want to do like a 4-1 or something like that to increase all of your allies, right? You notice it doesn't say all of Wind like it does here for the adjusted Cleave Grant range, where it said all allied immortals. Now it says all allied Wind immortals. So that's something to consider too as well. And I think with Alex, the increased speed goes up to 50%, so it's not as strong, but at least it's another immortal that now will add some additional increased attack speed rate. And then his additional damage got adjusted. It's a little bit lower now for the Cleave Grant. And then Theodora got a new effect where it dispels any continuous damage effects. I actually think this is good just because it's an addition. It's not a subtraction or an adaptation of it, right? So I think Theodora getting a new skill effect and nothing changing, this just seems like a positive to me. Dragon skill, Shadow Dark Breath, right, deals a certain amount of true damage to the enemy unit with the lowest physical defense and inflicts a mental decay effect. When any team takes any damage, the target subject to the mental decay all take 10% of that damage. So again, I'm not sure if this is an adjustment to the Shadow skill we can actually double check that as well. Probably would have been good if I just checked this and had these things up and running as a true professional before I started talking about them. So let's see real quick. So we'll look at this for his first skill, which is Dark Breath. So I think this one says, the way it reads, it says causes true damage to the enemy unit with the lowest HP. If the target dies, any excess damage will be dealt to all enemy units. So I want to say maybe this is an adjustment. Now it says deals a certain amount of true damage to the enemy unit with the lowest physical defense and inflicts a mental decay effect. When any team takes any damage, the target's subject to the mental decay all take 10%. So it looks like it's getting an adjustment. It would have been nice if they said what it was before and what it is now and like how it changes. That would be like my one suggestion for any time they're doing suggestions, just to add some clarification. Like I can tell you in other games I've seen where they tell you what the skill was, they tell you what the new skill reads, and then they give you like a brief line under that of, hey, this is the difference now, right? To try and put it to you in layman's terms or easier to understand terms. Lightning Cave. This is for the Lightning Dragon. So let's see what they have for Lightning. So that's Tyrannus. His skill is, let me see, this is for the Lightning Cave. I'm looking at Lightning Shriek. I think that was meant to be Lightning Cage. Yeah, so his second skill is Lightning Cage, which is Root. This is Lightning Cave, small typo, no big deal. The rooting effect is adjusted from unable to deal normal attacks to reduce normal attack damage by 70%, and its duration is changed from 8 seconds to 12 seconds. So I'm not sure. I mean, unable to deal normal attacks, I think no matter what, says, is, I feel like that's kind of what the root effect really maybe should be, as far as kind of based on what it is, at least from what I've seen in other games. But at least given that they're changing it, right, I guess they realize that it is kind of a debuff, because before they were able to deal any, now they're just reducing the amount of damage that can be done, and then they're just extending the duration for a little bit longer to try and make up from being able to deal 0 damage to now being able to deal 30% damage. So again, I would say a little bit of a debuff, but duration's increased, so I guess not all bad. Silver lining. Fire, intense roar, increased damage, increased crit rate. Obviously would like to know the specifics here. I think as always, right, everyone always appreciates the details, especially for those who really like to kind of stat and number crunch. Barracks extended the training time for every single unit by 2 seconds. I don't know about this one. And the reason why I say I don't know about this one is because, the amount of time it takes to train units already, once you start getting to higher tier levels, it already costs a ton of resources, right? Like, I'm sure for people that have been playing for a little while, you probably know. I mean, I'm only on T3 troops, but even T3 troops cost a decent amount, right? And I mean, again, I'm only saying that from where we're currently at in Server 6. I'm sure once we get farther along in the game, we get more cities, we're getting more RSS income. I'm sure the Alliance income's going to help. I'm sure other things are going to help as well. So maybe it's not that bad in retrospect. But I do think increasing training time just means it's going to take that much longer for troops to train overall. So we'll see. I don't know if I can really say this is like a win, or it's something that needs a little bit more discussion. I guess we'll just have to see how it plays out. Those are just my initial thoughts on it. And then we have some experience improvements. Garrison reduced the wall level required to unlock Garrison units. It was 10, 20, 30, 40. Now it's 1, 5, 8, 10. And if we go to your city garrison, right, and again, this is for your city garrison or your territory garrison. I've started realizing that they refer to a player's city as a player's territory, so it's just a different wording. So I'll try to use both to try and use examples. But the good thing is now you can essentially get assisted from up to 4 allies at earlier levels, which I think is great, because I think anticipating that you're going to have to wait. I mean, it's already taking so long. Probably going to take people a while to get to 30 and 40 respectively. So I think this is actually a great change. Alliance changed diplomacy entrance. You will find it on the officer tab on the left side of the Alliance panel to start diplomacy instantly. So I'm not sure if this is a new thing, or if it's just improving the current tab. Like, if there's a way where you can do a private chat with the leader of a alliance that you have engaged in diplomacy with. Like, let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. If you look at my screen too, right? Let me go into my alliance tab, and then if I click on war, and then I click on diplomacy, right, you'll see here friendly enemies, right? You can accept, dissolve. I wonder if they mean like I can click on this, or if there'll be like a new thing that says private message leader, or message R6, or message lead, or leader, or something like that. If they added something like that, I actually think that could be a nice, just like quick efficiency feature that they add. I'm not sure exactly what it is. We'll have to wait until it's announced. But like I said, and then I think adding more avatars. Everybody wants more avatars. 100% on board with being able to change from my Rico Suave avatar. I'm totally down for that. So anyways, with that being said, guys, that is pretty much it for us right now on this 0.15 patch preview. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, I think overall there's a lot of great additions coming in this patch when it comes out in about 12 and a half hours, again on January 5th. I'm really excited, and man, can't wait to see you guys out there on the battlefield. Take care.